So, what comes to your mind when you see this logo? Steve Jobs. Okay. Any other thoughts? iPhones. Macintosh. Sorry? Think different. Any other thought? Best technology. Innovation. Interesting. This brand. Now the creativity will come. So what comes to your mind when you see LV? Overpriced. Interesting. Other than this? Other thoughts? Fancy. Fancy? To which segment? High-end, premium, luxurious. Heritage, quality, pampering. Switzerland. Accuracy. Sorry? Childhood. And I'm sorry, الصوت مش واضح at the back. Standard. Okay. Okay. And this brand. Both are hand watch, huh? Heritage. Timeless. Pricing? Classic. Classic. Expensive. Sophisticated. Type. Rolex is a hand watch. Swatch is a hand watch. Why do you think people pay 100 times for Rolex versus Swatch? Quality? Do you think Swatch has a low quality? The name. And why do people pay for the name? I'm sorry? The social class that is attached to the brand. Can you elaborate more? So what? Why do you pay 20,000 riyal or 30,000 riyal for a simple hand watch? To make a statement. Like, keep these thoughts. We'll come back to this point. Flynas. Fly. That's the Just hold on. Flynas. Brand name. Okay. Nas is not a brand? Look, every single name is a brand. Now, if it has a negative association or positive association, at the end of the day, it's a brand. So it's a brand. It might have a strong equity brand, but it's a brand. But what comes to your mind when I say Flynas? Cheap? Budget? Affordable? Right. Interesting. Another thing about branding, that it's all about consumer and people perception. It's not about what the brand is saying and what in reality the brand stands for. It's about your perception about the brand. Do you know that in many flights, Flynas is much more expensive than Saudi Airlines? But still people, they think that Flynas is cheaper. Flynas is a budget airlines. Flynas, they launched their business class. So this is one of the brands that now they are getting into confusion a little bit, because they started as an economy or a budget airlines, but then they found an opportunity in the premium segment or the business class. They entered that segment. They are changing their model. They are now launching a new sub airlines. So now they are going through a transformation, I would say, in their business strategy, and it's not only a brand strategy. So the learning that we are getting from here, that brand is about perceptions. It's not about what the brand really stands for, and nothing wrong or right in marketing. Every one of you looked at the same brand in a different way. Some people, they said about LV as overpriced, and other people they looked at it as a prestige or a classic or a heritage. So every brand has a different association. And that takes us to what is a brand. A brand, a typical association linked to a name, mark, simple. Most of the logos I shared with you, it doesn't have a name, just a logo, just an icon, just a symbol. But for you, every icon, every logo has a meaning, has an association with it. And it can be related to a product or a service. And you know what is the most important brand in our life? It's us. Exactly. Every one of you is a brand. And you are shaping your brand not from today, from day one in your life. Since the day that you enter the school, and since the day that you start to interact with people, you are shaping your brand. And you are at a very critical and important stage of your life to shape your brand. And that brand, what will make you, inshallah, b'mashiatillah azza wa jal, to succeed in your life after graduation, in your career, and in your b'mashiatillah azza wa jal. So what we are talking about today is not only about business, it's not only about what do we know about other brands, it's about us, about what we are going to do for ourselves. Please, at any point, stop me or if you have any question. So, why is it important? Why do you believe that branding is important? At the end of the day, it's business. All the brands that you mentioned, they have a great impact on their companies. Now, iPhone is a brand that belongs to Mac. But iPhone as a brand, if it wasn't doing well, the whole company would not do well. So it has a direct impact on the business. And that's why companies, they spend millions just behind one thing, building brands. Companies like Unilever, P&G, all of these companies, the real reason behind their success is the success of their brands. Lipton, Pampers, Ariel, Tide, whatever, any brand that we are going to talk about, at the end of the day, it has an impact on the business. And that's why the last thing that any company would accept is to weaken or affect their brand negatively. And one of the biggest challenges in branding is that once you build an image, it's really tough to change that perception. It's like the first impression that you create when you meet people. You meet someone the first time, you have an impression, and then it takes much longer and more effort to change that perception. Why strong brands create value in many ways? It builds customer loyalty. It helps employees to retain in the company, increase the employee retention. Many people, they said, I'm happy to work for, to be a member in the faculty in Dar al-Hikmah. I'm happy to be a member of a faculty in Harvard. And it's because of the brand. It's not because the building looks nice or only the people or the pay here is high. It's because of the brand. I respect and I appreciate what this brand stands for. And that's why I want to be a member of Dar al-Hikmah faculty, for example. Sorry? Great. The experience to get value. But why do you think that this company will give you an experience? Because you have a perception about that company as a brand. And there is now, it's not a new school, but there is something called employer brand. And employer branding, it has its own strategy by itself. And we have been approached by many companies that in order to work with them on developing and building their employer brand to become the brand of choice for fresh graduates or employees. So at the end of the day, it's all about branding. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. And branding helps companies to charge premium. Rolex, for them the cost is not much more than, for example, Swatch, unless if it has diamonds or gold. But other than this, they are charging much more premium just because of the brand. So again, branding has a direct impact on business. As we said, that brand impacts the perception. I give you a product, I will ask you how much is it. You'll say that, for example, 100 riyal. I put one logo on that bag, he will say that, no, you know what, I think it's around 3,000, because I know that Louis Vuitton average, I don't know about the prices, I'm not good in prices of fashion, but 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, I don't know. I'll give you a product without any logo. Once I add, again, Louis Vuitton, you say, okay, this is a high quality product. I trust the brand, then I trust the quality of that product. Okay, so the brand positioning. The role of a brand, strategic positioning, and this is what you are going to work on in the competition, and this is what we are going to talk about between today and tomorrow. It's all about positioning. The positioning, it helps you to summarize what we want to create. It's either a product or a service or whatever. What is special about your brand or you as a brand? It guides the products or services. Do you accept to find, for example, a household cleaner under LV brand? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit. Every brand, you cannot stretch it into different categories. So once I say that Armani, it comes to your mind that fashion. I cannot imagine Armani in, for example, cars or any other category. So it guides what I want to do. It guides the messages. There are specific messages, and this is what you're going to work on as well. Your message has to fit and represent your brand very well. The worst thing that you want to do, that every couple of years you change your message in a way that will confuse the consumer. So I don't know, and this is what happens with brands on a longer term. Many brands, they die because they did not have the right strategy. They did not have the right branding positioning. They did not have the clarity, and they keep changing. If you look at any brand that has been succeeding for 100 years, 50 years, it's because they had the right branding strategy. One single message, and they kept hammering on it. I know many big brands globally, they died, although that they are managed by multinational companies, simply because the people who managed the brand, they were confused. They were opportunistic. There is an opportunity here, let me jump and capture that. I'm driven by opportunities rather than I'm driven by what I want to build in my brand. And this is the most important thing. It guides the visual identity of the brand. If I'm talking about something premium, then you would imagine that I can use the golden color, the silver color, the black and white, these colors which represents luxury and premiumness. Four Seasons, for example, as a hotel, they use black and white. I don't expect to see pink color, for example. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Guys, the pricing. So it guides everything in the marketing mix. Even the pricing, it has to be related to your brand as well. And the communication channels. Maybe you notice that most, if not all, of the hand watches ads, you have never seen them on a TV. Mainly they use press or outdoor. Why do you think that? Great. Target. But they cannot reach the target through the TV. Interesting logic. And definitely this is how you select your channels. It depends on the people. We used to study the day of our consumer from 6 a.m. and we call it the day mapping of the consumer. What does she do in the morning? What does she consume whenever she wants to get an information on the social media, on the Instagram or the internet? The media consumption is very important. One of the reasons, because the hand watch, you cannot just have a pause on the hand watch in the TV for example, 20 seconds or 30 seconds. People will get bored. While on the press, people will spend more time in seeing the details, because hand watch is all about the details. So you cannot feature the hand watch on the TV. While any other product that you want to talk more about the functionality, because they have nothing in the functionality. All hand watches are the same. It's all about the visual, the photo itself. طيب. Any questions so far? Okay. Moving to, this is what I told you about. It's the brand heart model. And how am I doing with timing? I'm okay. Great. The brand heart model. There are different schools. There are brand key, brand house, brand pyramid, brand block. And I have heard many names for different branding tools or models. And this is what we created in PCG. But why did we call it brand heart? Okay, and I love that. Wallah, we didn't think in this way. Yes, 100% right. The brand is the heart of the business, it's the heart of the company. So if you have a healthy brand, you have a healthy business. This is the rule. You want to measure the success of any company, measure the success and the health of their brands. Mac, iPhone. Samsung, Galaxy. It's the power and the health of their brand. You will notice that iPhone versus Galaxy, iPhone as a brand is much stronger than Galaxy as a name. People still, they call it Samsung mobile. Whenever you ask someone, what do you have? They say, I have Samsung. And they need to say, for example, Samsung Galaxy S3 or whatever. While iPhone is very sharp as a brand, the external part of our brand heart, which is at the bottom, the frame of reference, the target audience, and the insight. And tomorrow, Mashi'Allah Azza wa Jal, we will talk about the internal part of the brand. Why do you call it the external? Because it's not about us. The frame of reference, the target audience, the insight, it's not us. It's the market, it's the consumer. So we call it the external understanding, the external frame of our brand. The internal part, it's all about us, about our brand, our personality, what do we offer, and what makes us different. So this is the logic behind the brand heart. Right. So we start with the frame of reference. Many brands and many companies, they really underestimate the importance of frame of reference. The importance of, you go like, okay, fine, frame of reference is the category. Yeah, Sayyid al-Kareem, fine. I am an automotive company. Is this enough as a frame of reference? What is a frame of reference? Does anyone have an answer? هي مكتوبة ورا بس if you want to elaborate more عليها. To another company or another alternative. It's about you define the market that you are operating in. You define the competition. And you define how you want people to look at you as an alternative. We are privileged in these days that we have many alternatives for everything. Everything in life we have an alternative. Every single thing. Give me one name for something that you say, you know what, this is the only brand in the world that who provides this product or this service. Everything has an alternative. So how do you want people to compare you to? How do you want people to perceive you? And that's why the frame of reference is the base that everything else in your brand strategy or positioning will be based on. The other two parts, the target and the insight. And what do you mean by target audience? Target audience is, here we are talking about, and the target audience, we don't talk about them in general. We talk about them in relation to our product, to our brand, to the category, in the mood when they select our brand. So for example, when I talk about selling a detergent and I want to talk about the target audience, I don't talk about them when they do makeup or when they do shopping for fashion. I talk about them when they do their clothes cleaning or laundry at home. And what do they do? Their attitude when it comes to buying a detergent product. We do two examples for two target audiences within the same category, which is personal wash, we call it soap, Dove and Lux. Dove Bar, I think anyone here who doesn't know Dove Bar? Okay. Dove Bar. Demographics, women aged 20 to 50. That's very easy. And what are their attitudes and values? The Dove Bar, now we talk about her when it comes to how does she look at beauty and how does she perceive beauty. What does beauty mean to her? She accepts her imperfections. Her self-esteem comes from how she feels, not how she looks. Hence, it's about inner beauty. And this is how the brand was built. Dove, around the year, was built about inner beauty. While there is another brand, and by the way, Dove is one of the most successful brands for Unilever globally. And you found that because it's such a sharp and strong brand, the company managed to stretch it into different categories. This is how it started. Now you have Dove shampoo, you have Dove cream, so Dove deodorant. So you have different categories under the umbrella of the same brand, yet delivering on one single thing, which is all about the positioning of inner beauty. Another target audience, Lux. Same company. Both of them, they belong to Unilever. I was managing both. I was confused as a brand manager because I had to have two hats. When I deal with Dove and when I deal with Lux, although that both are not relevant to me as a guy anyway. So Lux target audience, she's more glamorous. She cares about beauty and the external beauty. We used to link brands with celebrities. So the easiest thing when we talk about Lux, we say Elisa, Haifa Wahbi. This is the style that we used to talk about to make it simple for the team. And for Lux target audience, for them, inner beauty is an excuse to be ugly. This is the way that a target audience of Lux would describe beauty. For inner beauty is about how do I look. Don't tell me about inner beauty. This is an excuse for just to be ugly and you don't care of yourself. It's a different target audience. Hence, we had to communicate with every target audience with a completely different style and different approach. We talked about the target audience, so we spoke about the frame of reference. Then within the frame of reference, we spoke about who's the target audience that we want to talk about or to talk with and we want to target. We had an example of Dove, we had an example of Lux, and then what is the insight? Insight, and again, you'll find that every time I say this is the most important element in the brand, reality is every single element is important in the branding. So what is the insight? They get it wrong. It's a very challenging. A couple of weeks back, we had a course called Marketing Foundation, and we had Mr. Rob. He has 37 years of experience in marketing. This guy, he spent his whole life in marketing. For every day, we sat with the team to engage with them and to get their feedback. He told me that the most difficult day for the delegates was insight. He said that people, they started to get headache and they start to get exhausted. Every half an hour they ask for, can I have a break? Can I have a break? Why? Because it's really exhausting. But you know what? When you do it right, you find that it's worth it. Because generating insight is a skill. There is an approach, there is a science behind it, but it's a skill. You find many people who knows how to convince others. Do you know why? They know how to understand and get insights from people. In order to convince and influence your behavior, I have to understand not your needs, your motivations, your drivers, your deep needs. Give an example of hunger. If you are hungry, two brands approach this need, which is hunger, but in a different communication. Snickers and Lausanne. Both of them, they communicated the same benefit. different insights, hence completely different communications. Let me give an example here of a campaign that was done in Africa. They have done, we always hear about quitting smoking and how it impacts health in a negative way. But you know what? It doesn't work. All of these campaigns don't work. Why? Because they do not understand the real insight behind why do people smoke. In Africa, they have done an insight activator and they found that teenagers, they still smoke despite all the campaigns about the negative impact on their of smoking, and they still smoke. And then they found that what really matters for teenagers is what? Their beauty. So they changed the message. And they talked about the yellow stains on their teeth. And how does it impact their look externally. And you know what? The campaign worked. Just because of understanding the insight. Nothing else. The same campaign. Again, it's about understanding your consumers hardly. And we used to do something called Insight Activator. We spent 3 days just only to generate one insight, engaging with around 100 people, individual interviews, focus groups, to get one insight. The whole company, we gather in one room like this room, putting posts, which we call it observations. And again, first an insight. The first one is an observation, and you need to differentiate between observation and insight. So the first one is an observation. Teenage girls are starting to smoke again despite the health risks in order to look cool and sophisticated. That's an observation. Okay, what's the insight behind it? They want to look cool. So if you want to change something, do not talk about health, talk about how they will look. And once they change this, they manage to engage and to be relevant to the consumer. If I want to influence your behavior and to understand your insight, to talk with you with your language in order to be more relevant, hence I can influence and convince you with the action that I'm looking for.